Blog Talk Radio.
Well, we're here live in the studio with Doug Moody and Mystic Records Radio. And we're going to start you off with a new song from Bleach Party.
Dude, do you know who his dad is? He's totally rich. He will totally hook you up, dude. We're drunk.
That's a Bleach Party, one of the newest bands that's just come on to Mystic. And we have Doug Moody in the studio. What do you think about the mix on that song, Crust Fun?
Hello, Candy.
Hi.
It's lovely to join up with you again. Thank you for the invite. Well, like all the latest things, when you have wave formation and when you don't have harmonics, you lose the middle of the sound that makes you want to hear it again and again and again. The problem is we're moving into an electronic age. And, of course, you know, I go back to when music was recorded by clockwork. So
sure.
We come a long way with electricity, but coming a long way forward and having more different ways of reproducing music means that you lose something along the way, which is human. So I find nothing wrong with that sound. That is the sound of today. It's like going into the bathroom with a boombox and playing it loud off the tiles on the windows and the mirrors. You're going to get a lot of highs. If you don't want that, then put some cotton wool in your ears and listen to the lows.
Well, anyway, I think I'll do some more mixing on that. But, for several years now, I've been trying to get PBS to do a punk rock hour or a punk rock 30-minute show, And, I remember way back Dick Clark. Oh, I loved American Bandstand and Sonny and Cher show. And, Dick Clark started to move into the punk scene for a while.
Yeah, Yeah, I can add to that a little bit because there's a lot of things that people don't know. So you want me to tell you about Dick Clark, me, Dr.
Yes.
No, and Brandon Cruz, maybe?
Sure. Oh, that sounds excellent. Yeah, good idea.
Okay, all right. Way back in, let's say, about 1984, right?
Okay.
A group was handed to me. A demo was handed to me of a song called Savior, and this was part of an album that had been recorded by Dick Clark in ABC Studios. Dick Clark produced it, and Dick and I go back to the 50s.
Sure.
We were involved in lots of hits in the 50s. As a matter of fact, Dick opened his TV show. The first day he went national was with an artist of mine called Robin Hood, and she was a girl, beautiful, and it was full color, and he wanted a stunning act. And so we opened the show, first time he went network, with Robin Hood, and she sang. And so we became friends, and then I had been handed this song called Savior. I didn't know what to do with it. I quite liked it, but I was in the middle of launching a new album with 40 bands, 20 on each side because it gives you 20 minutes an LP. So there was this compilation coming together, which had really been as a result of the Mystic Pirate Radio that we put on Saturday nights for 2 hours between 9 and 11. So
I remember
the cars
that.
the cars would drive around Hollywood with the windows down and the radios blaring, and for a 2-block radius around Mystic and Hollywood Boulevard, we would get away with it for 2 hours before the police would come, and then we'd all meet with you down at the Cathay de Grand, and then we'd all go and listen to the bands and drink beer there. So the first thing that happened was I put out this 40-band comp, and actually it's the first LP of streaming because everybody used it for parties and background. There you had 20 minutes and then turn the record over and you got 21-minute songs on each side. And so Brandon Cruz and Dr. No were launched in a 40-band album, 1 minute. Well, we got reaction. There was a card in with that said, just mail the card back and tell us which band you liked in the 40 bands, tell us which fanzine you read, tell us which radio. So we got, from every record that Mystic sold, we got a cross-section of what people listened to, where they bought their records, and who told them what. And so we concentrated on launching unknown bands, not staying with them when they made names, but launching every year, and you've continued that. You've rejoined me. We were together in the 70s and 80s, remember?
Yep, and we're still going strong after all these years. Now, that wasn't that Super 7 presents the Party or Go Home 40 bands?
Yes. Yeah, originally
I
Mystic
thought so
Radio.
because I've been remixing that album all morning.
Yes, you have.
In between other things.
You're running Mystic Radio, and you reintroduced this 40-band comp. In fact, you were the original idea of putting 60 bands on a CD, which we've done now, and now we launch Party or Go Home series on Mystic Radio. And you're launching a series of 60 bands for parties, background music, and everything, and it's called Party or Go Home series.
That's right, and you know what? I have Savior by Dr. No, the original, for everyone to hear, so here we go. Heavy thing, counter small bullets, get your mind through the face, look at nobody's playing. Who will be our leader? Who will be our clown? Who will open our mouth and force to push it down? Really try to stand and safer to the devil come. Pop the gun, for the left, further in together ahead. Who will be our leader? Who will be our clown? Well, that was short. Did I cut the song off too short? I have 38
no,
seconds.
it's okay. So Brandon Cruz was starring in this series, Courtship of Eddie's Father. And then they were trying a new series, which I think they were going to call Dr. No, and he was going to star in it too. So he took the name, this is how I was told this story. He took the name Dr. No, and they formed this group. And so Dr. No was formed, and hopefully the series was going to come out, but I don't think it finished, finalized. So we never saw Dr. No on TV, but we heard Dr. No on record. Then after Brandon Cruz was with the group, he left and, I don't know, went to other groups or something, and to me, by Dick Clark to put out, and so I put out the whole LP, and then I was contacted by somebody that the group had reformed, and that Kyle Toucher was now running the band, and so I recorded Kyle Toucher. So we put him out, and that LP was called Plug In Jesus. So there's been quite a long history between Mystic and Dr. No, dating back to the bandstand.
Wow, that is a long time. So who was on lead guitar in the original Dr. No?
Well, the original was Kyle Toucher in the original, and the drums was Rick Heller.
Well, I mean the one featuring Brandon Cruz.
Yeah,
because there's two different
Toucher.
ones.
There's Kyle Toucher in the original group, Ishmael Hernandez on bass, and Brandon Cruz was the vocalist. Then, when they came back, they needed a guitar player, so I got the guy from False Confessions.
Oh, yeah, Fred Mataquin. I thought it was Fred. Okay.
Yes, Fred made the lead guitar in the Dr. No with Rick Heller, Kyle Toucher. Then, of course, Rick left and he went and joined. You remember the English group that came over?
Exploited. That's right.
Yeah, Rick went back to Scotland with Exploited, and so the band sort of drifted or broke apart again. It's been reformed 2 or 3 times, but it's never reached the heyday of the original record and then the Kyle Toucher featuring Fred Mataquin, because the Fred's guitar playing is so superb. It's really great. So I've really enjoyed working with them on and off. It's hard for groups to stay together and not have avenues and places to play. It's so hard in those days because we were always getting, raided by the police. They didn't like the punk movement in Hollywood.
Oh,
and
I know.
Because you were in charge of Cathy
Yeah.
DeGrand. You were doing all the booking and photographing.
Yes.
You ran around with a film camera and you filmed everything, and I recorded everything.
Lewis had most of the films.
Yes.
I was
did.
so busy trying to keep everybody up and going and loading up equipment, unloading equipment, and everything. Yeah. But I'm looking at the Dr. No plug-in Jesus, and it has Kyle Toucher, lead guitar, vocals, Ishmael Hernandez, bass guitar, Fred Mataquin, lead guitar, and Rick Heller on drums. What a lineup!
Yes,
Woo-wee.
Yeah. That was a good. That was
Oh,
a
but
real
I don't
solid.
see any Brandon Cruz on this one.
No, he left, and
Plug-in
then Brandon.
Jesus. This was 1984.
Brandon then reformed Dr. No, and he ended up doing a show on CBGB's in New York which we have a live recording of somewhere buried in the Mystic stockpile, is a live recording of CBGB's. Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun to get put up.
Well, we'll find it if you want to.
Sure.
We keep going into the vault because people are requesting stuff that was made back in the 80s, and so we have to keep going back into the vault and finding these recordings and putting them out. And so, you know, every year we put out one record of only 100 made of a splotchy record of black and white, like a mixture.
I love that
there's
black
only
and white
one
marble sparkles.
Yeah, we only make 100 to make that record a collectible record, and that's a habit I've been doing since 1950s. We had a blues singer called Lightning Hopkins in the 50s.
I remember him. I love his music.
Yeah, he was very famous then, and so every so often I would salute these artists by pressing 500 in red vinyl. That was 45s, because prior to that, most of the blues music was always made on 78s. I'm going back a long way. So when
I remember 78s. I bought a few of them because sometimes, when I was a kid, I liked the 78s because they just had the main song that I wanted, instead of the whole album.
Yeah, so when we put out Lightning Hopkins, I used to always make 500 in red vinyl of some of the songs, and they became collector's items. I saw one advertised about a year ago for $1,000. Somebody wanted to buy a Lightning Hopkins red vinyl. Hey, I'm taking too much time of the show. They want to hear music.
No, you're not. No, we have plenty of time. Don't you worry about a thing. No,
okay.
That is so cool. $1,000. Too bad we didn't keep a few in the vault.
Well, I know that I'm selling 100 records. And I only sell them at $15 a piece, which is store price. But they've got to find it in the store because it's mixed in amongst all the black records. And then we also make occasionally a dirty record. That is putting white spots in a record. It's only pinpricks of white, and you see it, and it's called a dirty record, where you...
Now doesn't L.A.Punk have some of those? Some of those dirty records?
Our distributor, Cobra Side, sells to a distributor on the internet. There's the big one, Amazon, and then there's a smaller one, but it's very big with punks. It's called L.A.Punk. You're right. And they sell Mystic T-shirts and rags and buttons and these very, very rare records. They're selling... They just said they want more and more of it. A tribute to John Stabb called The Best of Government Issue. It's all about John Stabb, and it's in white vinyl, and that's sold by L.A.Punk on the internet. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all miss John. But, well,
we've
this
got,
party...
By the way, Candy, we've got the last recording of John Stabb. It was recorded in Cleveland, Ohio, by John Stain. John,
cool.
You know the group called the Stain? They
of
and
course.
John Stabb got together, and I have a picture of John Stabb, colorfully dressed up on stage with John Stain. So
how cool.
One of these days we'll have to find a way and introduce a tribute to John Stabb, maybe.
Oh, we should do that because, he just passed away a short time ago, and that would be really nice to put that out and keep his memory alive. That would be really nice.
Yeah. So, got anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I absolutely love this sparkly Party or Go Home album that I've been working on
Oh, the
today.
green one. That's a special
it's so
green.
Cool. You can see through it.
That's a very rare mixture that was made specially for that record, and there's only about 300 of them. It's a crystal green, and I don't think anybody else has ever used it. It's a special crystal. It glistens. Yeah.
It does, and it has all these little sparkles in it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, you got Party or Go Home, and you know how it all started. Party or Go Home was a pirate radio, and Party or Go Home we originated, and we were saluting fanzines in those days. So the first one was supposed to be a fanzine called Destroy L.A. Well, the FBI was investigating in Hollywood, and all of a sudden, all these fanzines disappeared, all the clubs closed down. You didn't. You stayed open, and these FBI men were coming around in suits, and they were standing outside, or they parked in a green car opposite the studio. So one day I got tired of this because nobody wanted to come in and out of the studio. It was all sneakily at nighttime. And I said, no, we're going to put a stop. I went down to them and I said, look, guys, you come on up. We got a 10-cent Coke machine in the lobby and a pinball machine. Come up and enjoy yourself and meet the punks. You're here trying to get a story on them, and they got in their car and drove away. 2 days later, they knocked on the door and came in, and there was 3 FBI young men with suits, and they said, we've taken up your invitation. I said, sit down around, and I said, loosen your collars, take your ties off, and they did, and they sat around, and they met people coming in, and after 3 or 4 days, they said, we've got no complaints here. I said, no, these are kids coming in, singing their songs. They want changes, and they want changes that are good for America. They're not saying anything. And I said, you should not stop them from performing, because this is a real American music. This music may have been born in Scotland, England, and called punk over there, but what it is here, it's simply suburban white blues. This is suburban white America saying it wants changes. And so they agreed with me, and we had FBI as company for about 3 days, right? But in that time, We Got Power closed its doors and hid, and so did Destroy LA. And we never got the 1,000 fanzines from each of them, even though we paid for them. And so we put out the record as Party or Go Home. It's not really We Got Power. So that's a story there, right?
Yeah. Well, you did the right thing, because, they could have stretched that out to months on end, but by telling them, come on in, you showed you had nothing to hide. Nobody was plotting anything against the U.S., and it's just, you were actually keeping kids off the street from getting in trouble, giving them something to look forward to. And like you said, white suburban blues, singing about the change they want to see in their neighborhoods and in their lives.
Yeah. Well, Mystic, actually, Candy, Mystic is a platform. It's not really a record company. It's a platform for people to get up and say something. And if you like what you hear, then you're finding yourself in Mystic lyrics. It's not that we're trying to sell a lot of records, because we don't. We don't press that many. You don't press more than 500 records a year of anything. We don't have big volume. Every record on Mystic is collectible, and we make more noise launching. And because you're doing it, we are launching every year 100 new bands or 100 new voices. We are, or you are. Look at you.
Well,
you know what I mean?
we do have a new 100 to add. That's where I'm busy working on this 40 bands Party or Go Home. I'm going to figure out which old bands we want to put on, and then add 20 new bands, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
There you go.
And then,
To
of
introduce
course,
them.
and then now you've started introducing bands from overseas. You've got one coming from Italy, you got one coming from the UK, and you have a big friendly band coming from Sweden. Did you talk about that?
Yes, and they're playing with the Casualties and Global. Let me see. Where is it? Okay. They're
Global
playing Punk
Threat.
Rock Bowling, the Casualties.
Yeah, and they're
Global
playing
Threat.
Global Threat. Yeah, and they're also on travel. They're traveling with the Fornicators.
Yes, and the Potato Pirates are going to be playing that show too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I like that, the Potato Pirates.
Yeah, I checked them out. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a magnificent job, Telma. You know, you've taken over where vinyl stops. It stops, but it's still out there, and people still have vinyl, and they still have cassettes, and cassettes make it sound like it's really in the recording studio. I think I'm back in the studio when I blare my cassette deck and kind of put up 4 speakers, one on each corner in my living room, and I just blast away and feel like I'm back in my recording studio. That is, the cassette still has the sound of the old tape. So I enjoy it very much. But
the cassettes are good.
I guess I'll get used to this. What?
Well, yeah, the cassettes are good. And, you know, when I pull the wave files off of the vinyl records, you're still getting the same harmonics. I do believe you are. Now, that song I played earlier, that wasn't taken off a vinyl record. But, I mean, okay, so where's one? Okay, here's I have Destroy L.A., and here, let me play this, and you tell me if you feel that it's got the harmonics, because I made this vinyl wave off of the vinyl record.
Okay, I'm listening.
Two young lads on distant shores, tending to the rigors of their daily chores. Their parents tell them what's going on, and they're waiting for the fire. Two young men on distant shores, tending to the rigors of their social norms. The newsreel tells them what's going on, and they're waiting for the bomb, waiting for the fire. The heat is rising and their tongues are getting dry. The culmination of an ancient time. They are waiting for the fire, waiting for the fire. They are waiting for the fire, waiting for the fire. They are waiting for the fire.
Sounds good to me.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, and it takes you back almost to the end of the doo-wop, into the rock and roll, and then into, I don't know, whatever we're calling music today. You can have any label you like, but if you like it, and now I just heard this guy singing, and he's had like 20 hits. He's more of a punk. He's not country. He's from Australia, and he's number 1 in Nashville, and he's got a punk cowboy sound.
Well, you know, Mike Ness went through that for a while. But here, check out Red Scare. I think the wave file on this came out really good. Check this out.
What?
with Bobby Bratt?
Yes.
I think a little bit of mix, to bring the tones up to modern quality. I mean, I think
that
really,
was good, though.
Wasn't that
so
beautiful?
That is so close to reality. It's amazing what you've been able to do. You got to teach me how to record again.
No. I can't teach you how to record.
Yes, you can. Yes,
but
you can.
I think it would be really nice if we could do a tribute with John Stabb as well as Bobby Bratt. She passed away in 1988.
Yes.
And she was such a beautiful singer. I mean,
well, why don't you put out a tribute to first responders or something like that? Because
Rocks
the first
in Peace?
people.
How about the Rocks in Peace? How about Rocks in Peace? We were talking about.
I love Rock in Peace.
Yeah.
Rock in Peace.
I remember they used to play at the cafe quite a bit too. Red Scare.
Well, there's George is still left of the Battalion of Saints, but they're
he's formed a new band called Cane Gang, and he's going to be playing. Let me see. He's going to be playing with the Schadenfreuders and the Fornicators in May. In Ventura. There's a brand new club. Yeah, there's a brand new club opening up, and George has formed a new band.
Wow, I'm so glad to hear that, because it's very difficult to revive an old band because, just because of the name. I mean, take a look at Aggression. Aggression was the original punk band that defending its swimming pools with locals only song, and they turned those swimming pools of all the empty houses into skate ponds, or skate ponds, whatever. and when they were young, Aggression was the top band on the Silver Strand, that beach down there, and there's been 4 or 5 attempts to make another Aggression. And now there's even bootlegging going on because the Mystic Masters are sold and resold by people who are just plain pirates. And
we haven't put out an Aggression record in 30 years?
No, but we're going to. I want to put out a tribute to Aggression. Why wouldn't you help me, please? Put it together and put a book with it. Let's give a tribute while Big Bob is still alive. Bob is the only one left of the original group.
They're playing a lot.
Mickey Rooney's son did come in lately. He came in. Mickey Rooney's son. Do you remember him?
Yes.
So
Mark
he came
Rooney.
in. Yeah,
Mark Rooney.
and he came in. Yeah, he came in at a later date, but there's nobody left of the original band except Bob. And while they're alive, it's okay, like we're saying, to give a tribute to John Stabb. But I think we ought to make a tribute while somebody's still alive, because I don't
like
think
that.
Bob.
I like that idea. Sure.
You
know,
do?
Celebrate them
good.
while they're alive. Yes.
I would like that, yeah. And maybe we can put a show together one day as a tribute to Bob and just honor him a little bit, because we go back. We're going back 40 years on Mystic, and I can do it because I'm 89, by the way.
I know, isn't that fantastic?
Well, I'm still around.
Who was the original drummer with Aggression? I remember Mark Aber.
Rick Heller, who ended up with Dr. No and went to Scotland. Rick Heller
so he was
the original
drummer
with Aggression on Silver Strand, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's amazing I can still remember all these things. I wish we were in touch with Rick Heller. I don't know where he went, but Scotland was the last.
I just saw that Exploited is playing somewhere.
My.
I'll have to see where, because I just recently saw them, and I'm not sure who they're. Let me see who their current.
Well, I'm not sure who
is.
is Exploited anymore, right? Yeah.
Well, let's
or
see.
Discharge. You remember Discharge? You remember all the old original bands? They sparked, and Aggression was not a punk band when it originally started. It was called a thrash band, and they were doing thrash music, thrash and bash music. It was called, and then it became called punk because punk was established in England and had become punk music, but originally it came out as thrash and bash. Can you imagine?
Thrash and bash. Well, that sounds about right. Let me see. The current lineup right now of Exploited is Waddy Buchanan on vocals.
Yes.
Wooly Buchanan on drums. Irish Rob on bass, and Robbie Stedo Davison on guitar.
I don't know. Yeah.
But the original lineup was, of course, Terry Buchanan and Steve Ross and Alan Pageant on guitar, Andy McNiven. That's what it says here on Wikipedia, but information's only as good as
who supplies it. Yeah.
Who supplies it? Because when you look at Aggression, they've got Mark Aber, Van Halen. Other former drummers include Larry White and John Mitchell as the original members.
Larry White was a road drummer. He went on the road with them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Rick Heller, the only credit he gets is on the actual album.
Well, Rick was the original drummer. Yes. He held Dr. No together until he left, and then of course it never quite was the same.
Right. Well, Danny Dorman.
Although Carl Taucher writes a good song.
He does.
It's not as powerful as Brandon when he was younger and original. But, when you hear the original bands, somehow you become attached to the old original version, even though sometimes they were a bit amateurish in their playing, and now everybody's become a little more sophisticated and they play more than chunk, chunk, chunk chords, But you've got to honor the original people who started, like you honor the original rock and roll people that opened the door. At one time, there was only big band music in America. The next thing you know is you got groups like Up on the Roof singing doo-wop, and then you've got, I don't know, it just changed. And 4 people could hold an audience. Look at the Beatles. And
I know.
I mean, it's just. By the way, the Beatles was launched through Mystic in those days because nobody wanted them. The 14 record companies turned down their record, Please Please Me, and we got it released on a label out of Chicago called. I can't even remember. Anyway,
wasn't that Mercury?
No.
For
Mercury turned them down of all people. VJ. It was on VJ Records, Please Please Me, and sold 1 million. And then the Beatles could come in.
I know. I bought
In those days, I used to pretend to be Ringo Starr, and I would invite people to say, "Hey, call your local disc jockey and invite us over. We'll come over and play for you." Well, we used to be able to get away with a lot more, didn't we, in those days? And of course, people said, "Oh, you must be a multimillionaire with all the people you've launched." But we don't sign people. We only sign a song here and there. We don't sign people. We don't own anybody. We don't own any bands. We own songs. And so we're launching a song and a performance. We don't own Dr. No. We don't own Aggression, but we launched them. So it's a very unique record company where all those record companies that sell millions of records and brandish names like crazy all over, where are they? They're gone because they can't sell millions of records today. They don't want to be in the business of launching unknowns. They all want to sell millions of records, and if not, they don't want to be in the record business. It's no good. So, the business is coming down to people who love music, love what they're doing, and I don't care. It's where I want to be, and it's where you want to be.
There you go, and I've got a song for our listeners here. This one's called Joey the Drunk.
Joey's run over, got his life in control. One thing he can't hide is love for alcohol. He fits that with stories of tragedies and love. Among men the streets, he was in fun. I told me he'd been naked when I lingered in his face. I was on his scary and full of mental pain. Fighting through alcohol, they throw his food. We finally got a satisfied relief in the news. Joey is the kind of man that don't wake up in bed. Waking up in a pint of gas with a cream run to his head. Ask yourself, could you handle a part of his routine? To start the day with a dose of booze and a pack of nicotine. So we tried to keep it serious, but getting caught down. We talked about the nights that spent his liver almost died. Oh, Joey loves his wife, he can barely keep his job. And about his back, again with his old-time album. I've seen him drunk on the streets, I've seen him drunk in woods. I've seen him dance the beat like no one ever would. I've seen him every week, doing night and day, wasted a week, stumbling around, trying to find his way. Joey is the kind of man that don't wake up in bed, waking up in a pint of gas with a clear run to his head. Ask yourself, could you handle a part of his routine? To start the day with a dose of booze and a pack of nicotine.
No, that's the Fornicators on their latest album that they released with Mystic. And they've been in the studio, and they're coming out with a new album after this tour, and it's going to be good. Are you still with me, Doug?
Yep, I'm listening, and thank you for
okay.
inviting me. Thank you for sharing time with me.
Well,
And thank you for letting me run off and chatter about stuff that this old man remembers and loves the music business. I have never been happier than I am now, sharing time with you about music, creating, and working with all these young new people and young groups. I think somewhere along the way we're learning that we're supposed to do this.
Well,
nobody starts a record company with the intention of not selling records, but just launching people. But we've done it, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. It's wonderful to be part of the fabric of knowing that we're bringing new ideas, new music, and we can't record and release everybody, but we're getting other people to similarly do something like us, and also limit the run of the record company so it becomes collectible and something you want to hold on to. And Candice, I just thank you so much for sharing with me. I'm just happy.
Well, that's really nice. Thank you for the compliments. And none of us ever started out thinking, okay, we're going to spend our life in punk rock music, and because it was not popular,
No.
And it was really hard to deal with when you go to the club and the police pull out their guns and tell everybody hit the floor, and or when you come to work and everybody's lined up on the sidewalk face down. I mean, there were some hard times, and I think punk rock has really come a long way because it's not like that anymore. The police aren't so down on the scene anymore like it used to be, and they seem to understand that we're not out to hurt anybody, and when they get those pits going, it's to have fun and release some aggression, and just if somebody falls down, you pick them up, and I mean, there's some of the big shows where you get some big bullies in there who, try to rule the pit. But I mean, at the smaller clubs where, you play all the time and it's just for fun, you don't want to bother anything. You're not trying to hurt anything. You just want to run around and have fun.
Well, occasionally we help the situation by when we see a couple of songs, anti-cop and this and that. Well, I told you once about the story that a young man wrote to me and said, my dad's a policeman, and I want to thank you, Doug, because I was in a record store and I read the lyrics on this record that you put out, and I found myself in your lyrics, and it stopped me from committing suicide. So,
Isn't that wonderful?
Sometimes I get letters, you get them too, and people call up and they say, I found myself in that song. And
sure.
So, without knowing what we're doing, sometimes we're helping people find themselves too, because punk music, in-your-face music, and it wants change. It wants
True.
to move forward. So, there was a time when rock and roll had long hair, you were not allowed in Disney World.
Really?
So,
I never
that
knew
changed.
that.
Oh, you didn't? Well, that changed after the Beatles could draw 100,000 people or 50,000 people. Suddenly, Disney World changed its whole attitude and put rock and roll into Disneyland because of money. When rock and roll made money, people's attitude changed. So maybe one day we'll have a million-selling punk record.
I had one of our groups not too long ago ask me what's the difference between gold and platinum records, and I said, well, 100,000 is a gold, right? And he said, well, that's what we're...
No, darling. A million is gold.
And what's platinum?
I've had 51 gold records, and they've all sold over 1 million. Gold records is million. Platinum is way, way past. It's like 2 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had 3 platinum records of a series that I made to help women give birth to babies. But I got 3 sacks of mail after I put the record out, thanking me for making a sex record. It was easier for women to have sex. So it was called Mystic Moods, it was called.
Oh,
And,
Mystic Moods. That's beautiful, too. I've listened to that before. It's very
well, the girl lost
calming
her
and
voice.
beautiful, sure.
Yeah, well, the Oakland Symphony was the background, and there was a lot of money being spent on this recording session. And the girl came in, and she lost her voice. She had flu, and then we had recorded Oakland Symphony with this beautiful orchestra and got nothing to show for it. Well, that Saturday morning, I came into Golden State Recording Studio in San Francisco, and Leo DeCoca. Leo was famous for making mistakes. Let me explain Leo, because this is really funny. One day he's recording Frank Sinatra, and he's got all the orchestra wired up and everything else, and Frank wants a special microphone, which was called a C24. C24 recorded one side and on the other side. You could stay one side of the microphone and the band could be on the other side, and they'd be separated completely clearly. Well, none of the microphones he had were wired up, recorded, and only one microphone recorded the whole session, called Second Time Around. Well, he thought he was going to get his head handed to him. Leo was really in trouble. When he played it back, there was nothing on 16 or 20 tracks. There was nothing. All the microphones were dead except for the vocal and the band. Well, when he played it back, Frank Sinatra said, "That's a take. That's the best recording I've heard of me in ages." So Leo, these are all true stories. Leo became famous for making mistakes. So one day he's doing a demo with some kids who became the Tijuana Brass. And when he
I love
back
them.
Well, he had, earlier on, he was saving tape. So he was recording over some old 16-track tape, and half the tape was Mexican music that he'd had a band in playing earlier. So as he played it back, unfortunately, all 16 tracks played, and this demo that they were playing had a background of Mexican music. So they got so excited, the two guys, that what did they do? They kept the Mexican music in and became the Tijuana Brass and made millions. That's a true story.
Oh yeah, they were a good band. So
yeah, but originally they weren't Mexican. It was just an ordinary demo. It was not got Mexican music. That was an accident. Anyway, so Leo had made an accident. That Saturday morning, he was playing train noises, where the guy used to record sound effects trains. So they're listening to train noises, and I said to Leo, are you playing that against my music, the things? He said, well, there's some tracks here, and it's just bleeding through. They won't be on there. Well, no, they will be on there. We made a rough mix of train noises going through, and we went over to K-Fog Radio in San Francisco that night, and they played it on the air, and the telephone wires went wild. Everybody loved the sound, and of course, K-Fog every so often plays that foghorn, ooh, of the bay.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
In the middle, there is this train sound going through, and one of beautiful songs with violins and the train going through. So we added rain and thunderstorm, and we made a thing called Mystic Moods, and it went platinum. And I made 3 of those and they went platinum. That's $1 million plus $1 million.
Yeah. I looked it up on while we were chatting, and 1 million albums is platinum, 10,000 is diamond, and 500,000 for the album is gold. So that's platinum. 1 million records is platinum.
Oh, so I've had more than 3 platinums. I only thought, because the Happy Organ sold 1.5 million, and In the Still of the Night by the Five Satins has sold 3.25 million. So
Whoa.
therefore, I got more platinum records than I have gold.
That
anyway,
was a really good song, and
you know, I'm sorry, I'm taking over. I mustn't do this.
No, you're fine. We have plenty of time. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Okay. Well, I've got
just so long as you don't have to be anywhere. It's 5:30.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
You do. All right. Well, it was great having you on the show, Doug Moody, Mystic Records, and well, we will see you down the line, and here's a song just for you.
Wait a minute, Candace. Wait a minute. Don't forget, you are Mystic Records too. You are Mystic Records too. Remember, lady, you are a we.
All right. Okay, that's right. All right. Thank you so much, Doug.
Bye, and thanks for your audience putting up with me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good day. Later on.
We had a phone and I don't know what ever since the bay. We crushed through the waves like we crushed the mainstream. The days of Jolly Roger in all our misery. You say strings to get out to get your mind to flow. You hit rock bottom, you don't really want to know. A couple days in, our women start to smell. The Danish police couldn't handle our rail. And I won't lie, we had fun in every way. But in all insanity, you're gonna have to pay. No matter where we go, no matter what we do, you're always gonna wonder what you put yourself through. It's for the fun, the adventure, on an island cross to say, where the time keeps turning on top and in, and life don't notice me. Where music, drunk and laughter echo in the punk rock dance, and I drink with friends always bring me to unexpected events. When my friends get their back to it, for the shelter now. You wake up in the morning, think you're on the other side. You better keep it on every time you stay awake. You never know next time your body with the pancake. No matter where we go, no matter what we do, you always gonna wonder what you put yourself through. It's for the fun, the adventure, on an island close to stay. But the time keeps turning on top and in, and life don't notice me. Where music, drunk and laughter echo in the punk rock tent, and I drink with friends always bring me unexpected events. With a sleepy face clear, that's your only lightly trust, and a drummer always seems to be messed up. We headed back to Sweden, 30 hours in 2 days. So sick and tired, annoyed and smelly in oh so many ways. So maybe next year we're going to Jamaica, watching parrots fly and get 'em naked in the sun. Because I'm tired of this band, and I'm tired of what's his face beside me. But next time today, we all be right back. We wanna go back. We wanna go back. We wanna go back. We wanna go back. Hey!
Okay, where did my next song go? All right, here we go. Glad you stayed.
Thank you for all the fun. Thank you for showing me music and playing it so loud. Thank you for giving me hope. Thank you for the moment of joy. Thank you for taking away and made me what I become. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I don't care. You bet that I don't care about you. Fuck you, I don't care. No way that I don't care. You bet I don't care about you. Thank you for being fat. Thank you for the working out. Thank you for my perfect body and my perfect mind. Thank you for being sober. Thank you for being a sweat. Thank you, reality. Thank you for keeping track. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I don't care. You bet, I don't care about you. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I just don't care. You bet, I don't care about you. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for the wisdom of time. Thank you for your lack of passion for leading the band. Thank you for getting married. Thank her for being a slut. Thank God for lack of morals for me not to give a fuck. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I just don't care. You bet, I don't care about you. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I just don't care. You bet, I just don't care about you. Thank me for the son of hope. Thank me for all the late night that I hope you didn't enjoy. Thank you for playing the song. Thank me for making it up. I hope we brought this up last time. Not how to give a fuck. No way that I don't care. You bet I don't care about you. Fuck you, I don't care. No way, I don't care. You bet I don't care about you.
I'm getting you all revved up on this Saturday afternoon. How about that?
Time is right.
like to give a shout out to my old friend Texarkana with the lead singer for the band Tex and the Horseheads. Oh my gosh, I've known her pretty much all her life. She started out singing at the Café de Grand when she was just a teenager. And today's her birthday, so happy birthday, Texacala Jones. And we're so happy that you have come a long way. All right, here we have some Tony Avila. All by myself. I was That's a track off of Tony Avila's new release out on Mystic last year, titled All by Myself, where he played everything, drums, guitar, sang, and did it all by himself. And I see we have Doug Moody back in the studio. Hey, Doug.
Hello, love. I like that, what you just played, but I'd personally punch the vocals a little more.
Well, you know what? We can have it remixed.
Let's do that. I like the sound of it, but I think the vocals are telling you something that you should hear.
I think so too. He called the title of the song. The title of the song is "Scum of Society."
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, he's really Tony's a great guy. He's got a lot of good songs out right now.
And everybody deserves to be heard. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Sure. And you know, today is April Fool's. April 1st. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
April 1st. Wow.
Yep.
I forgot about it being that. Yeah, well, it's so lovely to be in touch with you. You know, over the years, if I try to pinpoint one specific incident that I enjoy, it's being able to think back of times we've been together, all the things we've seen, all the things we've done. It's the ability that I have to relive, and this is going to be one of the times that I will be reliving for the next few months. I enjoy being a part of the music scene. I enjoy being invited onto your radio show. I just enjoy being around you. Thank you, lady. You're very much a big part of my life. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you know, I think we make a good team here at Mystic.
We're making a lot of noise.
Remember,
anyway.
you are a we.
You are
I think we should put that on a T-shirt, a Mystic shirt. Just remember, you are a we. There's no you in we.
That's it. Now, the other thing is, if you're going to wear a Mystic T-shirt, you should understand the reason I put my skull on the label and the reason I put my skull on the shirt was to say I'm doing what's in my head.
There you go. And nobody can ever take that away or try to say it's theirs because it's your skull, literally, from an X-ray.
It's my skull. Yeah, it was. I went to have a brain exam and they couldn't find any, I guess, because they gave me the picture.
Oh, well, it's very obvious that you love music. You've worked in the industry for so long, and you've dedicated your life to helping unknown bands to become known, and you've kept their bands alive. I was just talking to some guys in a new band who are interested in coming to Mystic today, and they said, you know, Mystic has really done a lot to help people, and the older bands that, you know, aren't able, some of the guys aren't physically able to play anymore, and they're just so excited to be able to turn to Spotify and find their little 1-minute songs on the compilation albums, and they tell me all the time, you know, Doug Moody was always good to me. He always did so much for the bands, and it's so good to be kept alive and know that people will forever love what we did.